on September 17, 1939, as Poland was fighting for its life against Germany. Something happened that changed the entire war. A second army crossed the border. Not Nazi Germany, but the Soviet Union, marching in from the east with tanks, artillery, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. For Poland, it wasn't just an invasion. It was betrayal, a strike from behind, delivered at the exact moment the country was on its knees. Most people today talk about the German Blitz, but the story of how the Soviet Union invaded eastern Poland is just as dramatic and just as important. The secret deal. The Soviet invasion did not come as a sudden shock. It was rooted in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact signed on August 23, 1939. Publicly, this agreement appeared to be a harmless non-aggression treaty between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. But secretly, it contained a devastating clause, the planned division of Poland. Hitler and Stalin agreed that Germany would attack from the west and the Soviets from the east, ensuring Poland would be destroyed before the world even understood what was happening. As Germany prepared its Blitzkrieg, the world believed both dictators were maintaining peace. In reality, they were coordinating the downfall of an entire nation. When Germany invaded on September 1st, the plan was already in motion. Blitzkrieg crushed Polish defenses, and international powers watched cautiously, unaware of the secret pact. The non-aggression promise was a calculated lie designed to eliminate Poland quickly and quietly. Why the Soviets moved. By mid-September 1939, Western Poland had been devastated by Germany's rapid Blitzkrieg attacks. Warsaw burned, communication lines collapsed, and the Polish army struggled to regroup. Seeing Poland on the verge of military collapse, Stalin executed the second phase of the secret pact. He falsely claimed the Polish government had fallen and that the USSR must protect Ukrainians and Belarusians in the east. In truth, his motives were expansion, land acquisition, and political control. The Polish army, already exhausted and engaged in a desperate fight against Germany, had no strength or reserves to defend the eastern territories. No allies were positioned there, and the region was vulnerable. Stalin waited for the perfect moment, when Poland was weakest and isolated. On September 17th, he sent the Red Army across the border. This ensured Poland would face a two-front war it had no chance of surviving. The invasion begins. Before dawn on September 17, 1939, more than 450,000 Soviet troops crossed into eastern Poland without warning and without any declaration of war. Tanks, aircraft, and infantry units stormed the border, catching Polish defenses off guard. Commanders were focused heavily on stopping the German advance in the west, and many could not believe a second invasion was happening simultaneously. The Polish government, hoping to avoid conflict with the USSR, ordered soldiers not to engage unless fired upon. But the Red Army showed no intention of neutrality or cooperation. They attacked border posts, ambushed retreating troops, seized towns, and overwhelmed defensive lines within hours. Confusion spread rapidly as communication systems failed and conflicting reports arrived from the front. Many officers initially wondered whether the Soviets were entering as allies or enemies, but the brutal assaults made the answer clear. The USSR entered as a full invading force. Poland trapped between two powers. By late September 1939, Poland faced the ultimate nightmare. Two powerful armies closing in from opposite directions. Germany pressed hard from the west with overwhelming firepower, while the Soviet Union advanced from the east with massive numbers. Polish forces attempted strategic retreats toward Romania, while others defended key towns with whatever limited resources remained. But they were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing impossible odds. Despite this, resistance continued. In cities like Grodno and Wilno, soldiers, students, and civilians fought Soviet tanks with rifles, Molotov cocktails, and improvised weapons. These battles were small, but they symbolized Poland's refusal to surrender its homeland. Unfortunately, bravery could not overcome the sheer strength of two coordinated invasions. Each passing day tightened the encirclement, cutting off supplies and communication. The Polish army slowly collapsed under the combined pressure, leaving the nation with no realistic path to victory. Soviet propaganda versus reality. The Soviet Union insisted it was entering eastern Poland to liberate local populations, but its occupation quickly revealed the opposite. As the Red Army took control, it immediately targeted Polish institutions. Officers were arrested, political leaders detained, and schools shut down. Newspapers were banned, and border guards were often executed on the spot. Entire families were rounded up and deported to Siberia and Kazakhstan, facing harsh conditions and uncertain futures. Within months, more than 300,000 Poles were forcibly removed from their homes. The most horrific event came in 1940, the Katyn Massacre, where over 20,000 Polish military officers, intellectuals, and professionals were secretly executed and buried. For decades, the USSR denied responsibility, blaming Germany until undeniable evidence emerged. In daily life, civilians lived under fear, surveillance, and oppression. The Soviet promise of protection hid a systematic attempt to destroy Polish identity and authority in the region. The fallout. Once the Soviet invasion began, Poland's defeat became inevitable. No country could withstand simultaneous assaults from Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, two of the world's strongest armies. By early October 1939, organized resistance had crumbled under overwhelming pressure. Thousands of Polish soldiers fled to Romania and Hungary, hoping to escape capture and regroup abroad. Government leaders evacuated and later formed a government in exile to continue the struggle. Meanwhile, civilians faced harsh occupation, division, and loss. Poland was erased from the map, split exactly according to Hitler and Stalin's secret agreement. The international community expressed shock, but no nation intervened to stop the Soviet advance. Western powers condemned Germany, yet remained silent regarding Soviet aggression. As a result, half of Poland fell under brutal Soviet control, marking the beginning of years of repression, deportations, and the destruction of cultural, military, and political life in the occupied East. The Soviet invasion of eastern Poland is often overshadowed by the German Blitz, but it was just as devastating, and in some ways even more traumatic. It was the second blow in a double strike, the betrayal that ensured Poland could not stand, and the moment two of the world's most powerful dictators carved up a nation that refused to bow to either. For Poland, the war didn't begin with a single invasion. It began with two. Germany burned the West. The Soviets crushed the East. And between them, a nation disappeared, but never stopped fighting.